awesome to see you. You know, you guys, it's one of the great sports stories in Baltimore history. Everything that you, your family have accomplished, man. We're always rooting for you. Continued health and success, brother. Best of luck. Thank you for taking the time
Yes, sir.
for us.
Appreciate that. No problem. Good talking to you.
It's Kendall Fuller of the Washington Commanders with us here on GCR. Says it wasn't about the streak. Griffin doesn't believe him. Griffin thinks.
I mean, they well, who did they interview the day before?
Sam Cosme was the guy. Yeah,
he said it was obviously about the streak. I mean, it matters, Glenn.
No, it does not. And it's with that in mind that I just want to address this. So, I'm sharing. This is from Jamison Hensley's Twitter, and this was the video that he took. It's about 1,000 other people posted this video that were covering the game on Monday night. John Harbaugh after the game. And initially, I just read and rolled my eyes, but I got angrier as the day went on yesterday. I just want to address it really quickly.
John, of course, the first loss in preseason since 2015. What does it feel like to have the streak end?
Yeah, it's just I'm excited. Thing about something like that, and I just told our guys, you know, you're proud of it, of course, you know, you appreciate it, but the thing that you're proud of is all those games are mostly just like that. You know, preseason games that people want to write about, some of you in here want to write about and say they don't mean anything because you never played the game. You never were out there in a preseason game. You never were fighting for a spot on the field. And yet you have the audacity to say that the effort that somebody puts into that to win and fight and win a game like that is meaningless. Tell me it was meaningless out there what you just saw. If you like football, is that a meaningless football game? You know, I can't respect anybody that says that because of the effort these guys put into it. That's what you're proud of. That's why I'm so proud of these guys for the way they fought. It doesn't matter win or loss.
It's fine.
It's
fine. We got enough of that. The audacity, he says. The audacity.
You know?
How dare anyone suggest that preseason games are meaningless? I mean, that would be. It's just proof that you don't understand the game. That you never played the game. That you don't get the game. The shamelessness that someone would say they're meaningless. You know who said that preseason games are meaningless? John Harbaugh. As Mark Viviano of Channel 13 pointed out, and this is a hell of a memory, on August 27, 2016, John Harbaugh was dressing Ben Watson being injured in a preseason game and said, quote, "It's not the 1970s anymore. They're not meaningful games." The audacity. The audacity of John Harbaugh to suggest that preseason games are meaningless. What a terrible person he is. The audacity. I didn't need for Mark Viviano to pull that quote out because I knew damn well how John Harbaugh felt about the meaningful nature of preseason games before I ever found that. You know how I knew that? Because he doesn't play his players. In fact, John Harbaugh, more than almost any coach in the NFL, knows exactly how meaningless they are because while every other coach in the NFL is trotting out their starting quarterbacks, John Harbaugh won't do that because he knows exactly how meaningless they are. Let me be fair to John for a second. You know what I think came out on Monday night? I think he got caught up in the moment. John, as we know, he's got a lot of tough guy in him. It's a Harbaugh thing, right? And I bet that in those moments, he got caught up in it. Close game, would like to win. Remember, Jim Harbaugh, if you read that famous Peter King story, was still talking about winning a pickup basketball game in a family get-together for like an hour afterwards. So in the moment, and when he went in front of the media, John Harbaugh's still peeved about, because he's coaching, a kid committing a penalty on 4th and 12. Or whatever it is. And so he stops thinking. John Harbaugh knows he's lying through his teeth when he goes after members of the media. He's just decided they're an easy target. That's you guys. You guys are idiots. I'm mad at you. Well, if you're mad at the people that say the games are meaningless, you're mad at yourself. Because you directly have told everyone how meaningless preseason games are. They're not meaningful games. Direct quote from John Harbaugh. Nobody made it up. But even if he hadn't, we knew based on the fact that they don't play any of their players. They're meaningless. Now, again, whenever you say that, there's someone trying to come white knighting in to buy your wife some Junior Mints. And someone wants to come in and say something along the lines of, they're not, tell that to, even our buddy Bo, who I love, and I'll tell that to Keaton Mitchell. The reps are not meaningless. They're just as meaningful as any rep that you have in any practice. Every rep that a young player gets is meaningful, and everything you do. Now, I need you to tell me what at all changes if Joey Sly hooks that field goal at the end of the game on Monday night. Tell me what changes. Every rep would be exactly the same. No one would have won or lost any other rep. Every performance by every player would be exactly the same. Tell me how anything in the world is different, other than those of you that bet, if Joey Sly hooks the field goal at the end of the game on Monday night. Go ahead, Griffin. I'll let you be the one to attempt it. By the way, the ordering chicken has now taken up 30 minutes of the show. I'm now mad at John Colson for offering to get everybody chicken.
It wouldn't change anything.
Nothing.
Unfortunately.
Zero. You know why? Because the games are meaningless. And somebody said, and I'll get people to say, why do you, somebody was mad at me, like, you're making this a zero-sum thing. You can present the argument why winning preseason games doesn't hurt anyone. You'd be right. No one's hurt by someone winning a preseason game unless you get somebody hurt trying to win a preseason game. One of the things I respect about John Harbaugh, more significantly, is that I know he's lying. I know John Harbaugh, in chastising the media, is lying through his teeth. And I'm glad that's the case. Because it'd be far more dangerous if John Harbaugh thought the games mattered. Because if he did that, you know how I know that the Ravens didn't, or that the Commanders didn't win a game on Monday night? Because they might have lost Terry McLaurin for week 1 of the season. That's losing. That's how you lose a preseason game. You can't lose a preseason game by the score. You can only lose a preseason game, and they're hopeful that he's going to be fine. And for what it's worth, I don't root for anybody to be hurt. I hope he's fine too. But if there's any chance at all that he isn't, then they lost. Unquestionably, they lost. Thankfully, I know John Harbaugh's lying because he knows he can't risk losing his players. So he's not going to run out his top wide receivers for 3/4 of a football game in an attempt to try to win, quote unquote, a preseason game. Because he knows that's meaningless. And he's lying. Doesn't hurt unless you get someone hurt. But you cannot create. I had some guy last night keep trying to tell me about it's about establishing a culture. Well, tell me how many playoff games the Ravens won during the streak in which they won 24 consecutive preseason games.
Was it 1?
1.
Wow.
There is no correlation. Again, if Joey Sly hooks that field goal, they would have done nothing. The Ravens would have done nothing to have won that game. And by the way, in the regular season, they all count the same. In the regular season, if the only reason why you won is because some dude hooks a field goal at the end of the game, you won the game. You know how I know that? Because we have standings. And it says you won the game, and now you're a step closer towards making the playoffs. There are stakes. If there are no stakes, you can't win. There are no stakes involved in that. Now, there might have been. Maybe Joey Sly was told, because didn't they just cut another kicker last week or something? Maybe Joey Sly was told before he goes on the field, you miss this, you lose your job. In order to create some stake, in order to try to, add some juice. Maybe for him there were, but there were no stakes at all for anybody on the field for the Baltimore Ravens at that moment. the notion that anything that happens in the preseason has anything to do with this nebulous concept of a winning culture is bull ass. And it would be more terrifying, as I pointed out, if you thought that was the case and you were willing to risk players getting hurt in order to pursue this nebulous concept. Which, again, I know is not the case because I've heard it from John Harbaugh's mouth. They're not meaningful games. Direct quote from the guy that chastised you. Again, it's not the end of the world. I'm going to call John Harbaugh out on it because the tough guy routine, I like John Harbaugh. This is the funny part. Like, I fight with Ken Zales about this all the time. I like John Harbaugh, but the tough guy shtick is as dumb gets. It's laughable. And yes, it's part of the reason why I've been soured on choosing to go out and spend my time that way. I don't have it in me. That is the height of naked shamelessness. John Harbaugh knows exactly how meaningless the preseason games are. And no matter how many times you say, well, this one was a fun one, that doesn't make it meaningful. And you know what? This is the other reason why it bothers me. And I'll wrap it up because we're going to end up doing a 3-hour show again today. The other reason it bothers me is because we live in a society where we have attempted to try to make it seem like we can create facts by how we feel about something. The other day, a sitting United States senator saw a picture of a shark on a highway and retweeted it as if it was fact. Like it was real. And the point, first of all, I also know that it wasn't the actual senator who runs the account. I understand. But the point was, what we want to be the truth is more important than what the truth is. We want it to be the truth that because I'm a Republican and California is led by Democrats, I want California to look like they're incompetent. So I want to share out things that make that true, whether it's true or not. To be abundantly clear, it happens the other way too. I'm not pointing out one side or the other. This was just the most recent one that I saw. This is how we exist now. When we want something to be true, we try to create a world in which it is. We are unwilling to acknowledge when things are or are not true. I wanted to write a story about Ramon Arias and how much I love watching him play baseball. But you know what happened the moment I went and looked at his Baseball Savant page? I realized, no, I'm the idiot. It's not true. He's not having a good defensive season. He's having the opposite of a good defensive season. And no matter how much I personally might like Ramon Arias, I cannot create a new truth. I cannot do the thing. Well, my eye test says, get the F out of here. You don't get to create truths. Griffin likes watching preseason football games. God bless him. I think there's a better way to spend your time. Go see Barbie. I don't care. But if you're into it, God bless you. As long as you don't attempt to try to suggest that it's something that it isn't. There is nothing meaningful about the result of a preseason game, and there never will be. That's why we call them exhibitions. Because we know. We know. And we have a bigger problem in this country because we are obsessed with the idea of making our opinions fact or making something that we want to be true, true. We are in the era of gaslighting. John Harbaugh attempted to gaslight everyone on Monday night. And again, it's not my biggest concern. I want him to go try to win football games. That's what I'm concerned about. I don't have to like John Harbaugh, and I do, is the odd part. I just don't like this routine. I largely like John Harbaugh. I think he's a good football coach. I think he's a decent person. I think well of John Harbaugh. This was gaslighting, plain and simple. There's no but no. We know. John Harbaugh knows that these are meaningless football games. He's told us that in words and actions. Facts are facts. Feelings are feelings. And at some point, we've got to come back to a society where we understand that. We've got to get back somehow to a place where we don't think we can make something true because we want it to be. And this is bigger, and this is going to sound like I'm like trying to do like a stump speech because I'm running for something. No, not doing that. But this is poppycock. I mean, pure and simple. What John Harbaugh's Sermon on the Mount on Monday night was poppycock, was nonsense. And alone, don't care. But in a bigger picture of society where we want to bully our way into something being true or yell louder to make it true, we can't make it true. It is not factual that there is anything meaningful about the result of a preseason football game. If Joey Sly hooks a field goal, nothing changes at all. And in the same way, the Ravens didn't win 24 consecutive preseason games because if there are no stakes, you can't win. Visit Glenn Clark Glenn Clark for Senate24.com.
Oh, okay. Glenn Clark 23 for.
Yes, that's not bad. Glenn Clark 23. That's the campaign. I don't know what just happened there. I might have had a little bit of a. Sorry, I got a little froggy. This S drives me nuts. I don't care how you feel about certain things. Facts are facts. Like we can't. This thing we're like, but it feels true.
Maybe.
Yeah, it's been disproven, but like, isn't it the crazy part? The fact that we thought it might be? No, it's not. That's you trying to score points. Facts have to be facts.
Maybe he misspoke. He was trying to say, the games for the players, I guess, are meaningful. Where,
no, he knows.
Where reps, where he means reps.
There's nothing wrong with saying, I want the guys to go out there and try. That's fine. But to try to chastise someone else for saying the games are meaningless when you've said the games are meaningless is naked. It is shameless. It is embarrassing. But again, I get it. He's doing the tough guy routine because he got caught up in the moment. It's not going to make the right decisions in the real games. That's what I care about. Be in the best position to win football games when they matter. When the actual football games.
He's coming for you, Roger Goodell.
And I also don't care. The other thing I don't care about is like everybody's getting fighting. You're celebrating too much. I don't care who celebrates. I don't care. As long as, again, you don't try to change reality. I love my guy Cordell who's like, they won a football game. They're celebrating. No, they didn't. You want to celebrate, do whatever you want to do. But you can't change. Nobody won a football game on Monday night. In the same way that the Ravens didn't win a football game against the Eagles the week before. We have to be the ones that say these aren't football games. We can't feed into, they want to make it believe it's something that it's not. It'd be as naked as saying that the team that won the World Baseball Classic is the best baseball country. That's not a real event. The pitchers aren't allowed to pitch. It's a neat thing that people like, and because people like it, we want to try to make it something that it isn't. Fact has to matter. Fact has to be a thing.
I mean,
no.
The World Baseball Classic was.
It's neat.
Fun,
what you just said is fine, and as long as you understand that's all it is just a fun, silly little exhibition, then that's fine. Pretending like that creates some sort of world champion is nonsense. Nonsense. Shameless, naked, embarrassing. All of those things. All right, quickly, tidbit.
Okay.
Quickly. We might not be able to do the quick.
Yeah.
It's Glenn Clark 23 is the code.
Yes.
Superbook.com is the website. Download the Superbook app. Go there. Get your use the code. Your first bet up to $250 we match, win or lose. Superbook.com, the Superbook app.
The Yankees have lost 9
that
games.
That is a fact.
9 games in a row.
And it helps my feelings. Yes. So I like it in both.